Good evening, dear listeners. Welcome to Sinister Signal, your gateway into the scary, the unsettling, and the downright terrifying. Tonight, we have a chilling tale that will make your skin crawl and leave you questioning the shadows that lurk just beyond your sight. Have you ever had the feeling that someone or something is watching you? That scary sensation of eyes on you, even when you're completely alone? Well, imagine if that feeling wasn't just paranoia, but a warning. Tonight's story, The Hollow Man, is a descent into darkness, a tale of vanishing lives, forgotten souls, and a presence that grows stronger the more you acknowledge it. It's the kind of horror that lingers long after the story ends, creeping into your thoughts when the lights go out. So, turn down the lights, check your surroundings, and make sure your doors are locked. Because once you see him, he sees you forever. If you enjoy spine-tingling horror stories, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Sinister Signal, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a tale that will keep you up at night. And now, let's begin. The town of Black Hollow sits nestled between dense pine forests and mist-laden lakes. Isolated, quiet, and seemingly untouched by time, it's the kind of place where everyone knows everyone. But there's one story the locals don't like to tell, a tale whispered through generations, never written down, and never spoken aloud after dark. When journalist Sam Carter arrives in Black Hollow, he's not there for a vacation. He's investigating a series of disappearances that have plagued the town for decades. Each case is eerily similar. People vanish without a trace, leaving behind only their clothes neatly folded as if they had simply stepped out of existence. There are no bodies, no signs of struggle, and no explanations. The locals whisper about the legend of the Hollow Man. Sam rents a cabin near the lake, determined to uncover the truth. His first encounter with the townsfolk is unsettling. Blank stares, hushed whispers, and a general unwillingness to speak about the disappearances. A man at the general store, clutching his groceries too tightly, mutters under his breath, "You shouldn't have come." The barkeep at the local tavern stares at him as though memorizing his face, as though afraid it might soon be erased. It is Martha Abernathy, an elderly woman with sunken eyes and fingers like brittle twigs, who finally gives him a warning. You see him once, he sees you forever. Her voice carries the weight of knowing, of regret, of fear that never left. That night, Sam experiences his first brush with the unknown. The wind outside howls through the trees, but inside the cabin, there is only an eerie stillness. The air thickens, pressing against his skin like unseen hands. A rhythmic shuffling sound echoes outside, something pacing slowly, deliberately. The lantern flickers. Peering through the window, he spots a tall, gaunt figure standing at the tree line. Its face is obscured by shadows, its body unnaturally still, but its head is tilted, as if listening. A sudden noise, a scratching at the cabin door. Sam recoils, his breath catching. He dares not move. He dares not blink. And yet, in the span of a heartbeat, the figure is gone. He does not sleep that night. The next morning, Sam wakes up to a heavy sense of unease. His cabin door is slightly ajar, though he is certain he locked it the night before. His boots, which he left near the fireplace, are now by the front door, laces neatly tied. He checks his phone, dead, though he had left it charging. His notebook pages are slightly crinkled, as if someone or something has been rifling through them in the night. Determined to find answers, he heads into town again, this time pressing Evelyn Harper, the town's librarian, for more information. She hesitates before reluctantly leading him to the archives in the library's basement. There, buried among dusty records and faded photographs, he discovers a disturbing pattern. The disappearances occur every 13 years, always within a 2-week window. The missing people are never found, but their belongings are often left behind, arranged as if carefully placed by unseen hands. Evelyn pulls out a diary written by a man named James Holloway, a settler from the 1800s. Holloway wrote about a shadow that follows, a hunger that never sleeps. His entries grow more erratic, his handwriting jagged, as if written in a frenzy. His last entry sends chills down Sam's spine. It watches even when my eyes are closed. Even now, I feel its breath on my skin. Tonight, I will leave something behind, so I am not forgotten. James Holloway vanished the next day. Armed with this knowledge, Sam ventures into the woods where the Hollow Man has been spotted. The deeper he goes, the more disoriented he becomes. The trees seem to shift when he isn't looking, their branches twisting in unnatural angles. He finds strange carvings on the trees, spirals, symbols, and a single word: return. As night falls, an eerie silence takes over. Not even the wind rustles the leaves. And then he hears it, a voice, whisper thin and broken, calling his name. Shapes move between the trees, their motions jerky and inhuman. A deep, rhythmic breathing surrounds him, closing in from all sides. A flash of movement. Sam turns, heart pounding. A shadow looms in the distance, its elongated limbs bending as it begins to crawl toward him. A sudden gust extinguishes his flashlight, plunging him into complete darkness. A rasping breath brushes against his ear. He runs. Sam stumbles back into town, breathless and shaken. He pounds on Evelyn's door. When she opens it, she gasps. "Sam, your face." He rushes to a mirror. His reflection stares back, but something is wrong. His features are fading. His skin looks paler, his edges blurred like an old photograph. His voice trembles as he asks, "What's happening to me?" Evelyn's expression darkens. "You've seen him, haven't you?" She explains the terrifying truth. The Hollow Man isn't a ghost, but an entity that feeds on presence. It doesn't just take people, it erases them. The more one acknowledges it, the stronger it becomes. Those who see it are marked, their existence slowly dissolving until they vanish entirely. Sam's hands tremble as he pulls out his notebook. His notes are fading, words bleeding into the pages before disappearing altogether. His phone refuses to turn on, no matter how many times he tries. His reflection flickers, a fraction of a second behind his movements. He tries calling his editor, his family. No one remembers him. It's happening. He's being erased. Determined to stop it, Sam ventures back into the woods, retracing his steps to the place where he saw the symbols. He digs into the damp earth, beneath a tree marked with the word return. His fingers scrape against something solid, a rusted box. Inside, he finds old photographs, journals, letters, all belonging to the vanished. Their names are scrawled on the papers, but some are barely legible, as though time itself is trying to erase them. Then he feels it. A chill runs down his spine. The air thickens. A presence looms behind him. The sound of slow, deliberate footsteps crunch against the leaves. He turns. Nothing. And yet, the shadows seem to shift, elongating, creeping closer. Then, a sudden shriek. The ground trembles. The trees groan, their branches twisting violently. The air pulses, thick with something unseen, yet overwhelming. Sam stumbles back as a shape, tall, thin, hollow, emerges from the darkness. Its face is a void, an absence of features, yet its presence is suffocating. It reaches toward him. A deafening, static noise fills his ears. His vision distorts. The world begins to fade. Sam staggers into the church, his body barely solid, his breath coming in ragged gasps. He can feel himself slipping, his fingers phasing in and out, his thoughts becoming distant, fragmented, as if he is being pulled apart at the seams. He needs to act now. The townspeople have gathered, their faces pale, their eyes wide with fear and desperation. They look to Sam for answers, but his form is already flickering like a dying light. He stands before them, his voice trembling, yet firm. The only way to stop it is to remember. If you forget the lost, they are gone forever. The room is silent, save for the creaking of the wooden beams overhead. Then, one voice murmurs a name. Another follows, then another. Soon the church fills with voices, whispering, then growing louder, calling out the names of the forgotten. The energy in the room shifts. Something is changing. Then, a guttural screech rips through the night. The air grows thick, suffocating. A violent wind howls through the broken stained glass windows, whipping through the church with an icy force that extinguishes every candle. The floor trembles. The pews groan as if the wood itself is screaming. The hollow man materializes in the doorway, its elongated form writhing, shadows pulsating in and out of existence. Its head tilts unnaturally, its hollow void of a face fixated on Sam. The lights flicker erratically, casting monstrous shadows that seem to crawl up the walls. The voices of the town waver, some faltering into fearful silence, others choking on gasps as the entity moves forward without stepping, as if being dragged through reality itself. Sam stumbles back. His vision blurs. His name, his identity is slipping from his own mind. He grips the wall for support, his fingers finding the cool, rough stone. Desperate, he raises the rusted nail he found in the ruins, pressing its jagged tip against the church wall. His hands shake as he carves his name, jagged, deep, blood smearing into the letters. The pain is sharp, grounding. He grits his teeth, pushing through the agony as he forces each stroke into permanence. The hollow man lets out an unearthly shriek, a sound so unnatural that it sends the entire town to their knees, hands clamping over their ears. The entity contorts, its limbs twitching at impossible angles, its form fluctuating between presence and nothingness. The walls of the church buckle inward. The air crackles, reality itself distorting, as the hollow man's form collapses inward, pulled apart by unseen forces. One final deafening howl, then silence. The wind ceases, the air stills, the church settles. The people of Black Hollow remain standing, panting, eyes wide with horror and awe. The hollow man is gone. The unnatural presence, the suffocating dread, it has lifted. But Sam, he is gone too. His name remains etched into the stone wall of the church, deep, permanent, a reminder that he was here, that he existed. Yet, late at night, when the wind howls through the trees, when the moon casts long shifting shadows, something still lingers, a whisper on the air, so faint it might be the wind. But if you listen closely, you can still hear him whispering, "Remember me." The people of Black Hollow remember him. His name lingers, scratched into stone. But sometimes, late at night, when the wind howls through the trees, a shadow flickers at the forest's edge, and if you listen closely, you can still hear him whispering,
subscribe for more chilling mysteries. Like if you dare. Comment your thoughts if you're not too scared. Join the Sinister Signals community. Hit that subscribe button. Some signal should never be had, but we'll listen anyway.